spotting technique is ultimately what puts this whole thing together. I mean, you know, I can take somebody with very little guiding experience and go, okay, we're going to set it up, the wind's at our back, put a pot of decoys there, click a robo-duck on. When you think those birds are 20 yards away, say take it.
Go, 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 go.
And almost anybody can do that. And eventually they're going to figure it out. Spotting is critical. Recognizing how to put the guide and the hunters in that spot is the most critical. And I stress that all the time. I just saw a couple ducks go boom, puddle in there. Because this is a pea field, I know exactly what's going on. Those ducks are puddling. There's some more, they're going to go in there now. Then they'll either hop out or they'll walk up onto the bank and they'll feed on the peas. They're in a little low spot, so there's ducks that are puddling and the other ones are actually walking through the grass and feeding because we're not seeing them fly out. So what's really neat about this is those ducks are going to be there tomorrow morning and the next day and the day after that, whether we're in there hunting or not. And that's where the spotting is so critical, because imagine us being in there on one of those mornings or one of those afternoons when those ducks are coming in and we have proper decoy strategy, we got some robo-duck spinning, we got some good calling, we got the wind played right, boom, it's not going to take us very long to shoot 40 ducks. We all have slightly different spotting techniques, and my technique is more of I just tour around and on the stuff I have permission on, I'll drive by it and I'll spend 30 seconds watching it. Sometimes I'll stop, sometimes I want to ride by and I go, okay, there's 100 ducks on the pond. And I do these laps and loops and I get these little snapshots in time of 5 or 6 different hunts that I'm watching. Some of the other guys, they'll sit there and watch a hunt for 45 minutes. A, I don't have that kind of patience. And B, while I'm sitting there watching a hunt for 45 minutes, I can't be finding another hunt. I know what's going on in that hunt, but I don't know what's going on somewhere else. And we have to live to fight another day every day. And the only way to do that is to cover ground and get those little snapshots on those hunts. I've been doing this so long that I see it very clearly, and as I drive between those 5 or 6 hunts, and you know, the first hunt I go by has 50 ducks, and I come back 25 minutes later and it's got 250, and then it's got 1,850. I know what's going on there, and that's all I need to know. And then if I decide, well, that's the one we're going on, and I go, hey, I'm good to go, I might spend the last 20 minutes there babysitting that hunt. And it's so important that the guides, I feel, spot the same way, because ultimately we need to cover as much ground as possible and become intimate with as many hunts as possible over a 63-day period. This time of year, conditions change so much because the harvest is very dynamic. I mean, a field that was standing one day could be combined the next, it could be swathed. And then, of course, so we're reacting to the birds, the habitat, landowner activity, because they're constantly combining and swathing and cutting and moving equipment. So, I mean, and that's what makes it all happen, is getting the crops off. So it's very dynamic. We need to be on our toes all the time and make sure we understand and remain focused on those changes and how the birds react to those changes. It's easy sometimes when we're tired just to sit and go, tired, I just want to sit and watch these birds for an hour. That's great, but what are you going to do tomorrow? So spotting is critical. It's the game. Here's what we have going on here. Behind me, there's probably 300 to 400 Canadas, all great big ones, early in the season, so we don't have any little migrators in yet. So we have permission on this one. This hunt, there's another pot of about 80 or so split from these birds. So we'd love for them to come together. What's really cool about that exact spot, now this is my 21st year of doing this. And in 1995, when I built the lodge, the very first hunt I guided, and I remember I had 4 guys in goose chairs, and we hunted out of swaths, and it was exactly right in this field, in this south end. Jeff, how are you? Good, how's it looking? They're all stacked in the south half now. And I'm just gonna pin it with my iPad, and then I'm gonna go for rip. So call me back when you see it if you don't mind. We seem to be under control now, which is good. This hunt's looking good. Jeff's is looking good, so we should be good. I'm just gonna pin this one. So the way I pin these is, which is kind of cool, is I take my iPad and there it shows the road we're on, and I know the geese are, the major concentration are on just east of me. So I'm gonna drop a pin right about there, and I'm gonna run up, and I'm gonna go 3/4 mile up and over. I'll get my spotting scope, and I'll get a perfect line on where those geese are, and then I'll just drop the pin, and then I can just drive right to the hot spot, and I'll be right on the X. So Jeff's good to go. It's a little lighter than it was, but a bunch of ducks are in there now.
Yeah.
He's gonna go back in about 30. Well, he'll be there in about 30 minutes to check on it and finish up there. So should be good to go here.
Okay, good.
I'll check back with you in a little bit. I'm just gonna have a look and see if there's a few of them out there. And there are. Perfect. That's what we're looking for right there. Well, where should we hunt this thing? So see this pea strip right here? And you can actually see where the geese are tearing this apart. So what happened here is the combines missed a little strip. Not a big one, but there's gonna be more peas, and there's actually pods. So you can see there's a lot of goose sign right nearby here, and it gives us a little bit of structure, not much, but it gives us something to hide in. In 1995, with Don Harrington, they're out of Ohio, I think. Sheldon's brother Greg spotted this.
Yeah.
And it was swaths, and we didn't have an exact pin. It took us 3 hours to find the button, which was, it was either here or just a little further that way, from what I can remember. And that's the one downstairs in the bathroom. You know that little goose chair poster with those guys?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the picture. 20 years later, it would be kind of nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna pin it right here.
Yep.
Check the wind here. Okay, so this is a pea field, and it's about 320 acres, which means it's a full mile long. And they've been feeding in this end of the field, and then some of the birds have been split in the other end of the field as well. We're in the north end, and I'll park the truck there at the end once we're all set up. But yesterday, it just seemed that all of them were here. Like all the Canadas came together right here, and there's some ducks in here as well. So really good feeling about this one. I mean, you know, we watched them trickle out, went back to roost. No reason they shouldn't come back. And we got a wind straight out of the west, which means that, and the roost, there's two roosts. One of them's to the east, and then the other one's kind of back to the northwest. And it's hard to determine exactly, you know, which birds are going to come from where. But we got just a slight, nice breeze out of the west, which is real nice. And then we're anticipating that nice straight in approach, which would be real nice. And there's lots of good fresh sign here from yesterday. And we dropped a marker in the ground. We call it dropping the pin. And things look good. Lots of chaff around, so we can dress the blinds up. And I'm just going to set up a main body of decoys around the blinds, and then two big long arms. A longer arm on the south end, just because I think most of the birds are going to be coming from the north and from the east. So it'll be more of a big U with a short arm and a slightly longer arm. In about an hour, we're going to put out, I don't know, about 150, 180 decoys, or fully flocked and full bodies, and then probably another 100 or so socks. The doors are really critical, hey guys? What? Like the doors? Yeah, real critical to jam a whole bunch of chaff into the doors, because those are the ones that you're gonna flip the most. Get the doors chaffed up real nice.
You want to make sure you don't get it too high, because you don't look like a hay bale out here.
It's a lot of work, but it's worth it. Just trying to make sure we get it done.
It's all about hunt interpretation, and if you interpret it properly, things go well if the birds cooperate. If you don't interpret it properly, it's not going down so easy, you know. And if it keeps going that way, what we're going to do is, rather than shoot them coming straight in this way like we kind of anticipated, we want to be able to move the main body of the decoy kind of around that way, so we end up being on the downwind side of the J. Do you understand what I'm saying? instead of being at the head of the pocket. So I loaded, you see how I loaded that side quite heavy? So it'll make any move that we have to do. All we'd have to do is push that arm out that way, because what happens is these geese will approach the main body from downwind, right? So if the main body's us, they're gonna approach from the left side, which is great for the left guy, but the upwind guy gets hosed. So we'll just make that final anticipation. So I want to wait on those. You know, we love to do this. I mean, it's one of those things where you have to be passionate about waterfowling. You have to thrive on stress and pressure, because you can't handle that.
Gotta look good.
You just can't handle this game. I mean, it's not for you.
Get the kill stick out right here. Benelli Superback Eagle 2s, brand new, ready to hunt.
You know, I tell the hunters, I go, if you hunt with us long enough, you're gonna go and you're gonna have a tough one, you know, and you're gonna have one. Like, I mean, I've come in with one goose before. It's no fun. It happens. It's our job to minimize that on any given day. And if they go on 5 hunts in 2.5 days and, you know, their third year they have a tough one, that's not bad. They've gone on 15 hunts and they've had one tough one. You know, it happens. I mean, we're humans. We get spread thin. The birds change the program, and we get caught out there, I mean, for lack of a better phrase, empty-handed, you know. Roll. You know, I was a good resident bird hunter, and I thought I knew how to hunt, and I really didn't.
Load and be ready to come.
We got one up back there.
What's that? You got it?
Good.
Fire a shot. I've video.
What's that?
My gun was dead.
What happened?
Nice work. Huh?
Good idea.
I mean, I learned very quickly that, yeah, I could go hunting under perfect conditions without a lot of pressure imposed on us. But the minute you impose pressure and not the perfect situation, we wouldn't necessarily kill birds.
Roll. Honkers, load, just load.
Now we can go very consistently and pull a rabbit out of a hat sometimes, because we recognize maybe not the most ideal condition, but it's a hunt, and we can actually put the birds in front of the clients under almost any and all condition.
Kill this one, kill it.
Hit
the reset button. Let's
Who's agile and young? Help me pick up some.
You know, whether it's, we have close roost issues, high wind issues, full moon issues, there's all sorts of things that affect us. Rain, barometric pressure, snow.
As long long as they're dead and not running away. Here, I'll just put them. I'll take them so I can keep track. Yeah, no, I'll just spread these out. No more any attraction. Here, I'll take those. Awesome. Some speckled tooths. Okay, just spread them out. Not too close to your blind. Just lay them out. Random.
After all these years, we're very well equipped mentally to handle it, you know.
Goes nice when they do it right, huh? I was calling those other geese. Did you guys see these?
Yeah, I saw them coming in.
Thanks for the heads up, by the way.
Hey,
All right, let's go.
hey, did you want to leave the mojo on?
No, that was totally wrong.
What?
Okay, cover up.
Don't bother them too much.
Another flight, fresh flight coming.
There is pressure every day. I mean, you know, me and the guides talk about it all the time. There's the pressure when you're spotting to put the hunt together. There's the pressure in hoping the birds come back. Then there's the pressure of hoping the wind is right for that particular situation that you're gonna hunt. And you lose a lot of sleep at night. I mean, there's times I'll hear the wind shift because it'll rattle my fireplace in the room, and I'll lose the rest of the night's sleep going, the wind's not perfect for that setup that I have. So yeah, there's a lot of pressure all the time. You know, the hunters are ecstatic. You know, anytime you have a 50, 60 bird morning, it's a great morning. You know, anywhere in North America, that's unheard of. You know, here, you know, it's still a great hunt though. It always is.
You ready, guys? Straight off 12 o'clock, right off your toes. Where are they now? Oh, there, I see them?
Yeah.
What's that? Here they come, guys. Okay, this is.
Well, today was interesting. We had wind straight out of the west when we got here, which was kind of nice. Then it switched a little bit out of the, I guess it would be the northwest, and it ended up coming almost back around out of the southwest and almost out of the southeast. So despite the wind and the lack of it for the most part, it ended up being a pretty good hunt. You guys shot very, very, very well. I mean, the geese and the ducks weren't exactly all right in our face, especially the geese. Some of the ducks, you know, targeted the robo duck right well, but you guys did some great shooting, especially on those big honkers. You know, when they're not right in there, they're tough to kill. And good job, guys.
Sounds pretty nice.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
It was a
Right on.
Great day.
Pleasure.
great day.
God. Good shooting.
Good running.
Breakfast.
Yeah, let's eat.
The clients have, you know, fairly high expectations. I mean, more so than new guys that haven't been to Canada before. Some of them have unrealistic expectations. They think they're going to come here and shoot, you know, all of their ducks and all their geese every time they go hunting. That's not the way it works. Good morning. We have some of the best hunting in the world, but it's still hunting. That is a mess of them.
We had a pretty good hunt. Yeah, it was great.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll put get all the honkers up on the back. It takes a lot of hard work. The area we cover is very expansive, so without the spotting program, we certainly wouldn't do nearly as well. Just the way waterfowl hunting is on the prairies, and it's pretty much like that from the Rockies to Ontario. If you're not spotting and putting guys on the X, you're not going to shoot birds. It's so expensive. We hunt in areas about 5 million acres. It's a lot of land. And if you're not on the button, you're not going to get any. That right there is just another day at the office. Check out there, fill it out with ducks, and it's picture time. The difference between going 40-40 and going like 38-30 is the wind. If we'd have had just that little bit of consistent wind, we'd have gotten. These guys shot very well for the opportunity we had, for sure.
Hey, do you want to put some on this side?
Yeah, you could have been done.
We'd have been done. Crown Royal. Would have been a Crown Royal day, and I'd have bought you the Crown Royal too.
Lots of fun, guys.
Got a lot of fun.
Good.
A lot of fun.
It wasn't the scenic feet hanging right in front though. The way the wind was. We got them. Put it that way.
Yeah.
It wasn't pretty, but we got them.
That's all that matters.
Huh?
I want tails now.
Okay. You got it. We're gonna do tails this afternoon.
When the hunters pull up, first of all, if we're back from spotting, you hear the trucks pull up, and when the trucks pull up, it's that roar on the gravel, and then the next thing you hear is the doors open, and for whatever reason, clients never close doors, so you never hear them slam, and all you hear is the footprints on the gravel, and then when we go out there, you hear your footprints on the gravel, and to me, that rustling of feet on the gravel means that I'm at the lodge. I mean, this is my happy place, and we're here, and yeah, it's cool.